Hello, everyone. This is Miss Washington. This story that we're reading this week is super neat. I love it. And I even have something really cool to show you after the story. So make sure you listen and watch the entire video. So this story is called What Lives in a Shell. So this part right here, the big words on the front cover, the title. Title tells us what that story's about. Now, if you notice down here, we have the words by Kathleen Widener Zofeld. That is the author. The author's name comes first. Now, what does the author do? Well, I'm glad you asked. The author writes the words. So the author wrote all of the words inside of this book. And then this next one says illustrated by Helen K. DeVee. Now, what in the world does an illustrator do? Well, the illustrator draws and paints the pictures. So we call illustrations pictures. So that's where they get the word illustrated and the illustrator. So look at this and look at all of these shells. I wonder if you've seen any of these types of shells before, or if you've even been to a place that looks like this. So we would call that the beach and the ocean. So we see lots of shells. So let's dive in. What lives in a shell? Here's our title page. This is our copyright page. It tells us what year the book was written. Here we go. What lives in a shell? And this box says my shells. Oh, take a look at what this is. Do you know what animal that is? Do you know what this is? It is as hard as a stone, but it is not a stone. It is smooth like glass, but it is not glass. It is hollow inside like a cup, but it is not a cup. It is a shell. An animal made it. The shell was the animal's home. When it says that this shell is hollow, hollow means it's empty. There's nothing in it. Like if you have a cup, before you fill the cup up, it is hollow. It's empty. So some animal has this shell as its home. Do we live in a shell as our home? Oh, no, of course not. So what animal lived in that shell? You live in a house or in an apartment building. That is your home. Your home keeps you safe and warm. Lots of animals have homes. Birds build nests. Ants make tunnels underground. A bear likes to live in a cave. So, lots of different homes. We live in houses or apartments. Birds live in nests. Ants make tunnels. A bear lives in a cave. Here is the animal that lives in this kind of shell. It is a land snail. Notice the picture there. I wonder why the shell gets larger. Think about why would the shell get larger? A land snail is born with a tiny shell. As long as the snail lives, it keeps on growing. As the snail grows, its shell grows with it. The shell keeps the snail safe. Oh, that makes me think of people. What part of us has to get bigger as we grow? Our clothes, that's right. You have to buy bigger shirts as you get bigger and you grow up. This is showing us the parts of a snail. Back here, this is called its foot. Of course, this is its shell. These are its eyes. That is so neat. This is its head. These little things are its tentacles. Tentacles. Wonder what those are for. It says they are for smelling and feeling things. And then down here is its mouth. How neat. So the next time you see a snail, you could point out the parts of the snail. You can go in and out of your home. You can run to the playground. You can wait outside for the bus. A snail never leaves its home. It takes its home with it wherever it goes. The snail pokes its soft head and its one big foot out of the opening in its shell. It uses its foot to inch along. A snail is a snail slow or fast? That's right, it says a snail is slow. So isn't that neat how it pokes its head out and it pokes its foot and then it just starts to inch along? Birds like to eat snails. When a bird or other enemy comes around, a snail cannot run away. So I wonder what it does to stay safe. That's right. It pulls its head and foot inside its shell and closes the door. The snail is safe. Here's another animal with a shell. What is this animal? Other kinds of animals live in shells too. Shells come in many shapes, colors, and sizes. Turtles live in shells. A turtle shell can be bumpy or smooth. Most are rounded on top and flat on the belly. Some of you have probably found a turtle shell before. Baby turtles have little shells. As the babies grow bigger, their shells grow bigger. Oh, that is super neat. So as the turtles grow, their shells grow. Now, think about you. As you grow older, do your clothes and your shoes grow bigger with you? No way. It's time to go to the store when that happens, right? You have to get some new ones. A turtle has 4 legs. It pokes its legs, head, and tail through the openings in its shell. Even though it has 4 legs, a turtle is slow. Have you ever had a turtle race? If a frog and a turtle were in a race, who do you think would win? What about a cat and a turtle? Oh, I think you guys are right. I don't think the turtle would win. It's a little too slow. Notice this picture. Without reading the words, or before I read the words, what do you think is happening? What do you think the words say on this page? Last week, that's what you worked on. Okay, so maybe the cat is trying to get the turtle, and what does the turtle do when the cat tries to get it? It is able to climb back into its shell. So let's read. If a turtle sees a cat, it may be frightened. It may think the cat wants to eat it. A turtle cannot run as fast as a cat. The turtle pulls its head and legs and tail into its shell. The cat pats the turtle with its paw. The turtle won't come out. It is safe in its shell home. We have another animal with a shell. What kind of animal is this? Let's read on. When you go to the seashore, you can find many different kinds of shells. You may see a crab walking on the sand. A crab has 10 legs. On its front legs are 2 claws. A hard shell covers its claws and the rest of its body. A crab shell fits it like a suit of armor. The armor helps keep the crab safe from enemies. But just as you outgrow your favorite shirt, A crab outgrows its shell. When it gets too tight, the crab pulls itself out. Underneath is a new shell. Wow. So a turtle shell grows with it, but a crab, when its shell gets too little, it just pops off and the crab pulls itself and there's a new shell underneath. That is awesome. That's like if your shirt was too tight and you pull it off, there would be another shirt. But I don't think that's how it works. You may find snails buried in the sand. Some of them do not look much like the land snails. So different kind of snails. Whelks and conches are types of snails that are found only by the sea. Here are some different kinds of sea snail shells. Look at all these different ones. Pacific coast, these are the different types of shells. And Atlantic coast. I'm sure some of you have seen these types of shells before. So we have the Kellett's whelk, Western rib top shell, Santa Barbara spindle shell, dire whelk, pale northern moon snail, Junonia volute, giant Atlantic pyrum, and a hawk wing conch. Wow, those are so cool. Some of you may put that up to your ear sometimes, and they would say you hear the ocean. Have you ever seen a snail shell walking along on crab legs? A hermit crab has hard claws in front, but the back end of its body has a soft shell. Its shell is too soft to keep it safe from enemies. A hermit crab lives in an empty snail shell. So remember that snails go around to find larger shells. And so the crab uses the other snail shells that are empty. After a while, the hermit crab grows too big for his shell, so he looks for a bigger one. Some are too big, some are too small. Finally, he finds one he likes. He throws away the old shell and crawls into the new one. Now the new shell is his home. The snail shell helps keep him safe. So notice, look, he's looking for the shells. And he's trying all the different ones, and they numbered them. You can look for clam and oyster shells at the beach too. Clams and oysters are animals. They have no legs, they do not have heads or tails. Their bodies are soft, but they are animals. So here's the outside of a clam shell, and here's the inside. And a clamshell hinges like you would open and close a box. A clamshell opens and closes. This is the outside of an oyster shell, and this is the inside. Clams and oysters grow two hard shells. The top shell and bottom shell look almost alike. The two shells are connected by a hinge. Scallops also have two shells. Here are some different kinds of scallop shells. So we have the lion's paw scallop, the zigzag scallop, Ravenel's scallop, giant Pacific scallop, Atlantic deep sea scallop, and the San Diego scallop. So lots of different ones. Some of you all may have called those seashells. So sometimes that's what we've called them. And they are shells, but to be specific, they're scallop shells. Most clams and oysters hardly move at all. They open up their shells to take in food and water. They close their shells tightly when enemies are around. Some scallops can swim. A scallop does not swim like a fish, though. First, it opens its two shells, then it snaps them together quickly. This gets the scallop where it wants to go. How cool! When you find a shell, carefully look inside. It will probably be empty. If a shell is empty, it may mean the animal has died, or it has outgrown the shell and left it behind. If the animal is at home, you can watch it for a while. See if you can tell how it eats. How does it move? What does it do when it feels frightened? When you go, leave the animal where you found it. Animals are happiest in their natural surroundings. If a shell is empty, you can take it home with you. It says if you are looking at shells in a state or national park, be sure to ask a ranger or a game warden before you take any shells from the park. Try to find as many different kinds of shells as you can. Whether the shells you find are big or small, plain or fancy, remember a shell is someone's home. And that is it. I love that story so much. And what I'm going to do in just a little while is post another video, and it is going to show some of these shells that I found. And I would love to share those with you. So make sure you check out that video. I will post it here shortly. So make sure you listen to this story to complete your work. Thanks, guys.